Hi, I'm Tim, welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Sinn Spezialuhren of Frankfurt, Germany has traditionally been known as a pilot's watch purveyor, and right up through the 2000s that held true, as the company was principally interested in the former vocation of founder, watchmaker, and pilot Helmut Sinn. However, starting in 2005 with the Sinn U1 that you see right here, the company has built a formidable reputation as a manufacturer of premium dive watches, and this is the founding father of that reputation. The Sinn U1, a timepiece 44 millimeters in U-boat steel. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. It's an imposing presence on the wrist, and as you can see, this is one of the few watches on which you could tell time from across a room. It serves its purpose as an instrument. It's not terribly thick. I was surprised, only 14.7 millimeters thick for a 1,000 meter automatic diver. It wears relatively slim and will fit underneath most cuffs, and that was a bit of a shock. Two ways to measure the watch across the wrist. If you just measure the lug-to-lug dimension, you can see lug-to-lug, we're talking 51 millimeters. Now there is a little bit of a rigid flare to the bracelet, not a ton, but some. So if you measure end link to end link across the wrist, it has a substantial 55 millimeter span. But I would recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters circumference, because of the way the bracelet arcs around the wrist and holds it in place. Sometimes you have to go by the shape of the watch as much as the size of the watch, and the bracelet and the way it flows, the tight downturned curve of the lugs, all of that makes this watch surprisingly amenable to a small forearm. It is a broad spacing between the lugs, 22 millimeters, so if you want to throw it on a strap, it has a nice broad footing for a planted contemporary stance. The bracelet that's fitted though should be your first choice. I would not put this watch on a strap, not with this bracelet. It is a matte finish, just like the remainder of the case, so the two match perfectly. You can see that it is burly in its construction with hex keys used to fix the lugs in place, and the watch does come with hex key accessories so you can easily size to suit. Underneath you can see plenty of gaps to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, or trapping wrist heat. And then we have a clasp that is simple but solid with a machined swing arm. It's a single fold with a clamshell locking system externally. It has the same finish as the remainder of the bracelet in the case. Now open it up and you can see there are three different anchoring points for the bracelet inside of the clasp, so you can do some fine tuning without actually removing any of the links. And then there is a fold out dive extension, and this gives you plenty of extension, about 25 millimeters or 1 inch for us in the old colonies. It is a robust extension, and I can recommend it not just for use over diving suits, but also for thick winter coats. I am a chilly guy and I've lived in cold climates, and that has been how I've used my dive extensions. The case band is simple. The lugs are integrated into the flank. There's a nice little bit of a curvature to the case. It's not quite as sheer in its side as something like a Rolex Submariner. There is a little bit of an arc from side to side. You'll note that the crown has been placed down at approximately 4/15. The better to make this an ambidextrous watch. It won't dig your wrist regardless of whether you're a southpaw or a conventional righty. Now the timepiece also features a bezel that is of captive construction, meaning if you look at the little screws on the flank of the bezel, screws hold the bezel to the case. It's not snapped on, with the corollary being that it cannot easily be snapped off, whereas a harsh impact to an Omega, a Tag, or a Rolex bezel will pop it off. Here it has to be dismantled with tools before it can be removed. The bezel is tegimented, that is, it has been carbon diffused to create a very hard structure, and then a hard black diamond-like carbon coating has been administered over the tegiment, with the result that unlike on a conventional watch where the soft steel beneath a hard coating will collapse and cause a fracture, here the tegiment, which is 1200 Vickers, is not going to collapse if you knock this hard black coating against a surface, meaning the coating, which is hard enough to resist a scratch, will not have to be concerned about the collapse of soft steel underneath. The soft steel is not underneath, it is hard, with the result that this bezel can block scratches and scuffs to your watch quite effectively. Now the bezel ratchet is sublime. Have a listen. It sounds great, it feels great, it's standard of the industry. Previously I've mentioned Doxa subs and Panerai Luminor submersibles for feel and sound amongst dive bezels. This is now part of my big three. The dial is simple, slightly extravagant in that the indices themselves have been self-consciously stylized, but the tritone is classically sporting. Red, white, and black with high contrast, and of course you've got that lovely counterweighted rectangular index seconds hand. You will also note that the timepiece has a paucity of printing on the dial side. Rolex, take note. Underneath the case back, you have a ETA 2824 based SW200, which is to say it is a Sellita movement known as the SW200 that is a legally produced recreation of the ETA 2824. It is tank tough. It is a 4 Hz beat rate, 38-hour power reserve, automatic winding, has both stop seconds and a quick set date, 26 joules rather than the 2824's 25. It is a robust tractor movement, and as you can see, this 1,000 meter water resistant watch is made of U-boat style. Why? Because A, it's highly anti-corrosive, so like Rolex 904L, you can submerge this watch in salt, wrist sweat, chlorine, chemicals, and not even need to rinse it. So inert is the metal against oxidation, tarnish, or degradation. And second, it is substantially harder than standard 316 stainless steel, which is what's used on almost all watches. Now, the hardness is about 350 Vickers versus 200 to 250 for standard 316 steel. So you're getting a much tougher watch, not just the Tegiment and Hard Black bezel, but also the case itself. The U-boat steel is used to create U-boats, and the same shipyard that creates U-boats for domestic and export sales actually provides the steel used in these watches. In other words, it is the full package. See the ultimate Sinn diver and make it yours on the watch box. The Sinn U1 by night. Note the loomed seconds hand. I consider that very important on a dive watch.